All right, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm just Mopar Joe, and that's Mark back there hiding somewhere. There's the Nightmare Charger, and before I show you this and how we got here, let's just take it from the beginning. Here's a 68 Charger. I think I got to name this thing Project Nightmare, because it was once somebody's dream, and all dreams aren't good, but I got it, and all this stuff was stacked inside. There's probably the original console. It's cracked all into a million pieces. Here's the window trim. I wanted to film. I wasn't even gonna start filming yet, but I had to show you that a lot of that's gonna be bent up probably, and I can straighten it mostly, but it's in the process. The whole thing was sandblasted and started getting new quarters and a new trunk floor, and maybe a new everything, but it didn't pan out. Our car is unloaded, and you can see from all the sand in here, or media, whatever kind of media they blasted this with. The whole thing was blasted and then coated in epoxy primer. That's what I was told. And then maybe halfway left outside, or a car cover or something. So it's starting to rust through epoxy primer in a bunch of random places. I think my job is supposed to be to put all the rear panels on it, and maybe align all the panels that I can, and weld the rear panels on. These are two new quarters, but they're just hanging on sheet metal screws. And looks like new inner and outer wheel houses, both sides. And here's our Dutchman we just set in place a minute ago. The big deal is the quarters are two different brands, so I don't know which part of China either one of them came from. There is a sticker on far up on the inside of that one, so we're gonna unscrew it off here in a minute and look. But just the inventory. Bug spiting. Taillight panel, the lower panel below the taillight. Some trunk gutters, some trim. I don't see all the trim. Definitely not all the trim. These would be the quarter ends that go like this to cover up your ugly at the end. There's a factory of those brackets, but there's a new one too from AMD or somewhere. New trunk pan. I don't know about the frame rails. They look original to me because they have splits in them and stuff. So we'll see that in a minute when we unscrew the floor pan off, or get the quarters off, just strip it all the way down. That's one piece of trim that would go here on top of a door. Quarter skin, half of a quarter, a bottom patch of a quarter, an original quarter that somebody hacked off, an original trunk lid with a bunch of little tiny holes in it like they try to pull the dents out. I don't think I'm going to hurt it at all by showing you the bottom of it, but it was epoxy primed too, it looks like. That back panel, it looks really bad. That would be, in my mind, worth replacing because it's so janky, and it'll take me longer to sandblast it and clean it up, and then I'll end up having so many holes to patch. A back seat, a front balance panel that's got a dent in it. Two front seats. Your message for today: Russia sucks. It was in the car. I mean, it's got to be true. If your 68 Charger tells you. I don't even know why they kept that, just to look over, I guess, or study, see how stuff goes back together. Over here, there's the other one. The hood's just setting on it now. It's dented in right there. Fenders feel, they sound very, very thin, so they must have been blasted to the moon. Here's the trunk extensions that are new, but the E-coat's fading on them, 1 and 2. Here's what's left of his console that was probably nice at one point. Or it had to have been when it was new. And there's the trunk hinges assembly, the rods inside, so that's good. But there's what's left of a console. And I had one of those. I sold to Ryan Barr's Nest a little while ago, but it's not here now. So here's our little nightmare project. It's a lot larger than the A-body I just had in here, but we kind of got it centered up. The goal is take all the panels off that are just sheet metal on, screwed on, get the rear end out and try to level the whole car up, frame and everything, before we try to attach anything else. Because I can tell right now, like this spring is kind of jacking everything up. So if the man was trying to fit panels like that, he was probably having a bad day. Hopefully doing that will help align the tubs. See, they seem semi-screwed into place with the quarters. And the door, I have no idea on his fitment with that stuff. The gaps are kind of okay, but right now they're sagged down so bad. And this is just a horrendous nightmare, like he didn't even try on that. I think he was just trying to put panels on to get the car out of his way. And in mine, we had one screw there and one down there. Hopefully it doesn't fall off on filming. There we go. The driver's side does have a little label. We can't find any reviews on it, but it's a Golden Star sold by Jegs. I know he's got 2 different brand quarters, is what I was told, from spots that like that where it's rubbed and somebody's tried shoving it down and there's big sweaty handprints and stuff. Somebody was really upset trying to put this on at one point, I think. 10,000 fingerprints all over it. Let's take the other one off. So it's definitely different. I could tell on the stampings here. This might be an AMD or something a little nicer. See how hard smashed that one is? This one just kind of rolled. Another deal there. How tight that crimp is versus being bigger. And then this one has an extra piece of reinforcement here, which is spotted, where that one does not. So we're gonna make them work, I guess, or attempt to, but we got to pull the tubs and everything else off now. At least that says AMD. And these in the past have been a nightmare to fit up as well. They look like they did pretty good on their fitment here so far. It's the same car, I promise. So factory rails, factory braces there, that's nice. They're not too bad. The floor pan has been patched in the front, on the bottom. There's been one brace added, it looks like, right there. See kind of the booger wheels. But the rear end rolled out easily. So now we're kind of leveling it. See my 2 fancy Joe Z jack stands here. If you measure from the floor to those positions, they are within a 1/16 of each other. So that's good. And then we measured from here up. They were almost identical, so that's nice. The brace here is kind of doing a good job. A lot of times before people pull both quarters off, they run a cross brace through here, but we don't have that luxury now. And if I weld one in, it may not be just right, so I'm gonna leave it alone. We're gonna grind. Well, first we got the vacuum set up to clean out all the fun from in here. It's full of fuzz and whatever blasting sand they had. Get it all cleaned out, and then this has to be ground smooth, clean metal again. Smooth, clean metal again. Had some kind of POR or something, rust protector on it. So we're gonna clean it up some. But if I'm just sticking to my job here, I'm trying to get the metal attached to the car where it won't rot off later. And everything we grind off, I have weld through primer to spray back on before the panels go together. But we checked the frame rails from here to the floor, and you can see how much, hopefully how wobbly that is. One was wider or higher than the other one, so we may need to level that out. either by jacking the one side or lowering the other before we try to put the pan in more permanently. That we got out so far, and the hits just keep on coming. Looking better. Could you imagine just welding a quarter panel on that and leaving all that crap in there for it to rot down forever? That's crazy. Oh, I got the front. There you go. See the holes? It's opening up some, but look at all sand. We're trying to get sand out. Got a pile that big in the floor. So I'm gonna stick our vacuum on this side. There's some up here. And try to suck more out as he blows it my way. Yeah. Look at our wad coming out of here. Here, let me twist it a little bit as I pull it up. That old shifter cable. Look at that. Glad we got that out of there for him.
As far as you can go in, when I was seeing it earlier, you were on that right side.
Okay.
If it can get on this left side, we get the rest of it.
Yeah, look at the mound of sand still. Wow.
Good.
We're gonna have to we'll blow and suck this thing all day long, I guess. Get all that crap out. So here's the initial wad that came out of, ignore the tape, we were taping up. It came out of here, and we are clean and mean, minus this little bit of junk there that's underneath the clip. But my idea was pressurize this thing after we had it taped off, and that worked okay. Had the vacuum in the other end, so we were trying to get it all the way through. But sticking the leaf blower in this end and sucking through the other end got all that stuff out on both sides, so that was good. I think we're gonna have to end up quitting for the day by the time we pick up all the crap that's out in the yard. Let's show them. It looks like a swap meet out here, or a bad swap meet. And the majority of this came out of this rig here, so we got to figure out where to put it all. And there's 8 3/4 rear end. If I leave that outside, somebody will be driving by wanting it, so got to do away with that too. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching, and there'll be a little bit more on this car, I guess, on the back half. Anyway. All right, Mopar people.